Okay, well, welcome. Episode 1 of Bricked Up. I'm your host, Brick. I'm not bricked up currently. This is a little different for you guys with my content. I know you used to see me stream and be bad at video games, but I'm starting to do a new variety of form where I'm interviewing prominent people in the esports scene that I know because I'm good at knowing everybody, but nobody knows who I am because I'm a Who Megalol. So, episode 1, very good friend of mine, one of my best friends. I want to make that very clear. Currently the pro coach for TSM, ALGS. Eros on site.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming, bro.
Of course. Wouldn't miss it, man.
Yeah. I'm glad I could fly you out. You know, it was all expense paid. I was able to get you out here to my personal facility that I own for sure.
Definitely, man. Love the place. Looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, I just had it redone. So brand new.
Yeah.
Not in a Walmart or anything like that at all. Anyways. So you have been obviously we've known each other for about 2 years now, I think, right?
Maybe a little more. Yeah, 2.5.
I think
something
so.
like that.
Yeah, which is actually insane to think about. It does not feel like it's been that long.
Not at all.
We're in 2026. And you've been coaching, coached Apex for I don't know where it started, but then I know that you joined XP League with me, and then, obviously National Champs. We're coaching there for 2 years, going on 3. Then you joined ALGS. Well, first you started with Geeked versus Locked with the Open in New Orleans, which is pretty crazy. I'm going to ask you about that. And then you started coaching for Ronin, and then now you're with TSM.
Yeah. It's been a crazy experience, man. Loved every minute of it, 100%.
Yeah. Do you feel like it esports goes slow and fast at the same time?
Absolutely, man. You know, it feels like you do so much in a short period of time, and things change, and metas change, and people change. I feel like I've lived 3 lifetimes in esports, and it's only been probably 4, maybe 5 years at this point. So.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. I'm like, God, I feel like there's just been so much. It feels like it's been around forever, but then you're also like, oh, everyone is finally just starting to learn about it, and that isn't involved or in Korea.
Yeah.
Where they're rock stars.
True.
And like actual movie stars for being in esports. What first got you into esports, like in general?
Yeah, so I tell this story quite a bit. I've always loved games. Remember, one of my earliest memories is just playing Mario with my mother, and with esports in particular, I didn't really get involved until my daughter was born. She came from the hospital, and COVID started happening, and there was just nowhere to go, and so my community around me had just kind of disappeared. Like the guys didn't really understand, okay, I have a family now. I can't really go out and party or game. I can't do all these things that I used to do. So
right.
I actually chose Apex Legends specifically because I didn't care about it. And I could put Apex on mute and put my daughter on my chest, get her to sleep, and I would let her lay there and just play the game because I didn't care about Apex. And as she got a little older, and I started watching, ALGS and the OGs of that, the competitive spirit just kind of took me a little bit. So, I had played sports all throughout my young life, played college football, and, I think a lot of guys really just miss that competitive spirit, the desire to compete and be the best and be against other people that are the best. And Apex really, for me, captures every bit of that.
For sure.
So that was my start, for sure.
I've heard you or seen you talk about, like, having your daughter in your chest, that sort of thing, like falling asleep. I think it's just the most ironic part of that whole story is you being like, I didn't care about Apex Legends. That does not feel like a core value of Nate at all.
Yeah,
I keep ranked with this guy all the time, and I'm getting flamed. So
for sure, the amount of care definitely increased over time.
Yeah.
But Apex is a beautiful game. You have
criminally
people,
underrated.
I agree. Yeah, they teach chess in schools, and there are people that spend their entire lives dedicated to exploring and becoming better at games like chess and basketball and football and things. And to me, Apex is, man, it's 4D chess. You reach a certain skill ceiling of what people are able to do mechanically, and then it becomes a battle of the mind. And I think there's so many games where that's not that it's not a factor, but is less of a factor than Apex.
Yeah, and I feel like because Overwatch was where I come from, similarly, is also like chess. It's really funny too because it feels like in Apex, sometimes whenever we play, we're like they're like navigating the chessboard, you're making all the right moves, and then I feel like when we run into people, it's like, oh, they just made the worst play possible, and that's just like absolutely brain dead, and then we're dead for it. And I'm like, what? They're just playing the game wrong. They're just and then we're like, okay, well, how did we die there? Like, are we just awful? Like maybe we're just chopped. I don't know.
It happens. You get old. Your hands get a little.
You get old,
smaller.
yeah.
But now, even at the highest levels, you see guys saying, "Oh, they're playing the game incorrectly," versus
Right.
what their
Right.
perception of correct is. So, I guess as long as you're not dead,
That's true.
maybe you're doing
true.
okay.
If you're just alive, it's like, hey, we're crushing it.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is your biggest motivation behind like being in esports?
Man, I think in just like in life, it varies day to day. My overall goal in esports is to just maintain competition in my life. I want to, like I said before, I want to be the best. I want to crush my enemies.
Yes.
And I want to compete against other people that consider themselves the best.
Right.
And if they don't, then it's not worth it to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
On a personal level, everybody wants to turn this into more of a business. They want to make money doing this, and I think for all of us, it's somewhat of a goal to be able to provide both for ourselves and for our families with something that we love.
Yeah,
and that's true in any business, but
right. It's especially hard in esports, as we both know.
Especially difficult in esports, 100%. Recent motivations, I fully intend on winning ALGS.
Yeah.
That when I wake up every day, when I VOD review, when I practice, when I do all these things, I'm not doing this with the intention of losing. I'm not traveling to Japan with the intention of getting top 10. I want to stomp people out.
Yeah.
I want my players to lift the trophy and go into it with the confidence, knowing I'm the best team on the planet before they ever play a single game.
I mean, you currently have the resume to back that up. Just 6 months ago, a youth roster that we were both pretty concerned about ended up having not only the best performance of any Apex team, but any roster that competed at the entire LAN across 5 different game titles for a TLDR. I mean, they won in the point totals by double. For those of you that don't play competitive Apex Legends, you have to get to a certain point total and then win the game, like get a victory royale, as they call it in Fortnite. And our team, you don't have to do that at the level that they were playing at, but there was no margin for any team to even compete. There was no room. Like we played 6 games. They got top 5 in every single one, and they won the last one with 30 kills, which is extremely unheard of. Even the casters that actually worked at Full Sail, by the way, because this took place at Full Sail University. Thank you to Creative Studios.
Shout out Full Sail University. We love Full Sail.
Yes, and they were like, absolutely just flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for context, Brick and I worked together quite a bit in XP League, and Brick knew my players from the time that they were 14, 15 years old, something like that, probably
12.
younger. 12, yeah.
12 to 13.
And really instilled in them, the values of hard work and being the best that you can be and things like that. So I was lucky that by the time I got them, a lot of them were already pretty fierce competitors. And so, yeah, our preparation for this 17 and under esports tournament in Orlando was, we don't want to win a single, the day. The goal is not to win the tournament. We wanted to win every single game by a wide margin. And, we got pretty ahead, and they wanted to look at the scoreboard and how many points do we have and things like that. Yeah. And I just remember telling them, you look at the scoreboard when you're done, because It's not about that. It's about doing every single thing, doing your job as hard as you can do it. And we, like you're saying, we actually beat second place so bad that if they had doubled their points, they still would have been in second place.
It was and it would have been by 5 to 10 points or something like that, but it's still absurd that even came up.
Yeah.
Appreciate the shout out, obviously. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, this is my talk show, but so I never glaze myself. Nobody glazes me ever, so happens.
They should.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I am actually champion on support, the highest rank in Overwatch possible.
Oh
So
man, well done.
thank you.
Shout out for that.
Anyways, little self insert there, little plug. Um, but that's yeah, I could not agree more because I also as a coach like I want to win. Like I mean, I wanted to win as a competitor, and like I still do when I compete for fun and that sort of thing. But winning is fun. Yeah, I'll never forget. I heard from someone one time that they were just like, "Oh well, I don't know if I want to win every single game," and I was just like, "But like, why?" And he was like, "Well, I just want to have fun, and I want everyone else to have fun." I was like, "They can have fun. They're not going to win. I'm
They
sorry.
can have
That's
fun in
just-
second place.
That's right. They can. Hey, that's a huge achievement for some locations.
Yeah.
Look, some people were very happy to even be in the top 3. Right? That's just how it goes
For
sometimes.
sure.
But then you have the place where we came from, and winning was like breathing.
That's true.
Was
Man.
that cold?
No, that was. It was.
Thank you.
And no shade to anyone else in XP League. Like
Yeah.
XP League has always been a wonderful experience. But it was clear that the mindset was different for us.
100%. I mean, for the two of us and like the rest of the people that we worked with, it was pretty much the same
entire
thing.
board.
But a lot of these other places just want to play for fun, which is totally valid because you're coaching 7 to 17-year-olds, and not all of them get instilled early on that like how to win or even how to play these games. That was a big. I won't I'm not going to downplay myself and say I'm a bad coach, but that was a big reason why I got ahead of the curve really early is because we went to our first LAN all the way back in 2021 in Raleigh, and I was like. I'm like locked in. I got like strats and stuff for like maps and all these things. And I have like a dad that's like, "Can you believe they're allowed to play on their actual accounts now? Isn't that so cool?" I was like, in my head, I was like, "Buddy, that change was like 3 months ago." And I was like, "Yeah, that's so neat." I was like, "Wow, okay, sure."
Yeah,
So
the
obviously the
approach
league
to
caught
it
up. Yeah, for
was
sure.
very different.
It was
for
from
sure.
the beginning to, and obviously more now. It's a lot more consistent to get
serious. Yeah.
coaches and that sort of thing. I was kind of the first of my kind when I got there,
Yeah,
which was really cool.
Yeah.
So we obviously, even though we just talked about winning it at NAV, what was your most memorable moment in esports, like as a player or coach, either one?
Man,
There could be a couple. That's a hard question.
yeah, I don't think I could choose just one.
Yeah.
But a couple of moments that really stood out to me, I think will probably surprise you. One of my most memorable times was just in the coach's house at NAV.
Yeah.
Just being, there were coaches there that were coaching every game, both at the youth level, but also at an extremely high level. We're coaching collegiate, we're coaching professional, and just being. After day one, we all come back and we're all watching VODs, and people are giving their input on games that they may not even play. But just being humbled and overwhelmed by just the community and the focus on achieving excellence from people that were involved in so many games, and just the love for their craft that was expressed in just this moment of us all kicking it on the couch and hanging out afterward. To me, really just kind of solidified like, okay, I'm in the right place, because I think it's very easy to question yourself on, am I doing the right things? Am I just playing video games? Do I need to grow up? Right. But like, no, this really is something that's a love, that's an expression of your highest efforts.
Yeah.
So to me, that was just such a huge moment. Obviously winning nationals was amazing.
Yeah.
I think
Coach of the year as well. I forgot to include that. Got a personal interview. You can go find it on YouTube. Look it up.
I do appreciate that. I was, selected to be coach of the year at XP League, which is a fantastic and great honor. I appreciated that. I think, winning that tournament for me was more about helping the players achieve that moment than it was a personal satisfaction for me.
Yeah.
You see coaches like Nick Saban, for instance, at Alabama, who they win a game, they stomp people out by 20 or 30 points, and he's still mad on the sideline. And I just remember,
Been there.
We won that final game, and we scored 30 points off of it, and I was mad.
How could you possibly get upset?
I was in the moment. I was frustrated with our execution,
Right.
and it is funny because it still is one of my most memorable moments of both. One, yes, I want to hold myself to a higher standard in everything that my teams do. I
Right.
want them to consider every ability usage, every shot, every reload, every micro positioning should be highly important to them.
Right.
But also, it was a moment that, looking back, you have to allow yourself to enjoy the moment. So it's a pretty incredible contrast for me. My last one, because I am kind of rambling a little bit.
No, yeah, sure.
The first time, years ago, I think that I hit Masters in Apex.
Sure.
It felt like it was, like a huge achievement or something. But my wife, who is just a constant supporter, shout out Ludmila, love you forever. She actually showed
forget.
up.
I pointed at the camera. Sorry.
Yeah, she showed up in the room and she was watching my stream. Showed up with a bottle of champagne and popped it in the room, and it was just such a sick moment. Like, I didn't even realize that she saw it happen, and it was just so cool, and I appreciated it a lot.
As your friend, that's great. I'm like almost to tears and happy for you. I'm livid for myself. You know what I got when I got GM? You're trash. You play Mercy only. My dad was like, oh, here, let me pretend to be you. Put my headset on and start going, Mercy, Mercy. Oh, I'm dead. I make an achievement. I just get clowned on.
Man.
It's crazy. Yeah, but that's incredible. I mean, truly, like I could not be. Which, I mean, it sounds, obviously, as someone who knows your wife pretty well.
Sure.
That sounds incredibly accurate. She's ride or die, bro.
She's ride or die, man.
Claire would have been there too, but she, probably wasn't. Or she was just a baby.
She was asleep. 100%. But no, man. That's what I love about esports, and your GM deserves to be celebrated.
Yeah. Well, now champion.
Champion, excuse me.
I am champion on support.
Excuse
it's on my Twitter.
me.
No, it's not for you. It's not for you.
Yeah.
No aggression towards you.
No, it needs to be celebrated. And
I'm 26 years old. I'm chopped.
No, huge achievements. Man. Huge achievements.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think to your point about getting masters in Apex, like when I was like grinding Overwatch really hard, obviously, when I actually got GM the first time, like 7 years ago, something like that, 8. I had like not showered in 3 days. Like, had literally just been playing the game for like 12 hours because it was the summer. Yeah. And like a friend of mine at the time came over and I was like, "Look, I did it. Come here. Look at my computer." Like, I mean, I was like a gremlin, like just locked away. And people don't understand the euphoria. Like, when I got platinum, even before that, like, I mean, Overwatch seasons were like 3 months long at this point, which is absurd. But it was like 900 games or something like that, which is an absurd amount. Like, Overwatch games are like 25 to 30 minutes at the time. And I was like, I got platinum and I literally was like, yes! I was like, I am the best! Not, wasn't really that impressive at the time because platinum in Overwatch is like kind of a joke. But same euphoria of like, you're working so incredibly hard for something that matters to you individually. And it's just the first step.
Absolutely.
That's why I wish sometimes we could go back and like experience that for the first time. Now, do I wish I could relearn the game? No, that would be atrociously hard.
That would be
difficult.
Like,
getting to experience that, like that high of being like, I did it. Like, I got so far.
Yeah.
Like,
it takes so much more work now to achieve that same level of euphoria, for sure.
It really does.
But also, I think as a coach, you get to experience that over and over again through your players.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. And that is why I enjoy coaching. Because like I got burnt out on the game pretty hard because of, long story, but I started coaching and it was like being able to just pour so much of like that passion and instill like those values into the kids. And then like, that's where I'm kind of really bad at sports ball supporting, and even just like professional, is I have to be like emotionally tied to a team or something, or people, to be like, oh, I want them to win, or like to be like I never have that ferocity just because they're like from like the Titans, for example, which, I mean, come on.
You got to do better, man.
They're a joke. But that being said, that's where I'm always like, I get so much more invested when I am emotionally tied to them. Like when I went to Akron, Ohio for the Play versus Collegiate playoffs, or whatever it's called, which is really cool, really fun experience. I was coaching Georgia Tech. Louis was in remotely. We had a tough run, but I remember during the last like map, like the passion started to come out, and I was just like, I'm just gonna start yelling and just be like, yes. Yeah. And one of the players was like, oh, Brick, they can hear you. Like he was like watching as well. He was like, Brick, I was like, I don't care, I'm not being toxic. Yeah. I was like, which I have done at youth tournaments where I've actively talked bad about the team that my children are playing.
That didn't
But
happen for
yeah.
legal reasons.
Yeah, for legal purposes, that was just a joke. But, I cannot confirm nor deny it, nor is there any footage of me saying or not saying things. But I have, normally when you're hyping your players up, you want to, like, get them in the mentality that they're the best. But it's also, like, but in that moment where I was like, nice, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually getting nervous. Because I was, like, just kind of coaching. I was like, well, whatever. These games are kind of expected wins and losses. But we were one that was, like, unexpectedly hard. And we were doing bad. And it was just like, I just started to get the passion. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I actually got nervous. Because then you start to care when you're, like, emotionally invested.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's been a big thing I've focused on in ALGS for sure.
Speaking of ALGS, perfect little segue. How did you start coaching GVL and then getting into the ALGS?
Yeah. So, actually, huge shout out to one of my players, one of my former players, Abyss, a Wild Abyss. He's next up. Somebody pick him up. He's him.
True. He's good.
He really just kind of knows everybody. And so
he does. Yeah.
He really does.
He gets around for sure.
So he mentioned that there was a team that was looking for a coach, and he asked if I wanted to help them, and we just did like a little session.
Yeah.
And they ended up asking me to coach the Open for them, and this was Geeked versus Locked. It was
corny name, but that's okay.
No, man, I loved the
Did you
vibes.
like it? Okay.
I did. It was East Slopes, Emotai, and X Pebbies.
Fire. Chills roster.
3 of the best players to do it, man. Like I said, same as Abyss. If anybody gives them a shot, they're going to nail it.
Yeah.
Tier 2 is such a cutthroat, dog-eat-dog, environment, and these guys have navigated it so well and continue to do so. But made the Open. If you look at the record, we didn't do so hot at the Open.
It was like
right?
73.
We made 74.
4?
Right?
That was really close.
But the thing is, and I don't think anybody really knows this, is when we got to the Open, they denied our emergency sub.
Right.
Our IGL was scheduled. His plane was booked late. So we played either the first game or we played the first game as a duo.
Yeah.
And then throughout the rest of the tournament, we had 5 different games where we had either 0 audio.
Yep.
Full tower crashes. So
someone
DC
DC'd during one of them.
Multiple DCs. So, I think when it comes down to it, man, I look at that and yes, it's motivating because I always want to do better.
Yeah.
But I look at that and I look back at how many other professional organizations that my guys potentially scored better than, despite the hardware issues that we had there.
Especially on the first day.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know how the ALGS Open functioned, it was the first Apex tournament that they did where they included a bunch of different routes to be able to participate, and it was the biggest one that they'd ever had. It was 140 teams, and typically they're about 40.
Yeah, sure.
Because Champs is 40. Because I think some of the other ones have been maybe 60 or something like that, but this was, it was literally over double the amount of teams. 140. I was there. I was with Geek versus Locked. I got to meet a lot of really cool people. I got a cookbook signed for Eros, for Nate. His Apex cookbook. True. I got a ton of pros to sign it. I was over here talking to Zach Mazer. I had no idea who he was. He was on VP, like Virtus Pro. Yeah, I had to tell you this. Yeah, I was carrying around the cookbook, and I knew he was someone important, and I obviously recognized the Virtus Pro logo. But, I was like, I feel like this guy's more important than I'm remembering. And then he walked away, and I saw his game tag. I was like, that was Zach Mazer. Just a super casual conversation.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes, yeah. He was super cool. Hopefully the hair recovery continues.
I'm sure it's going
Someone
well.
Sponsor him, whatever hair recovery you have, he's looking for it.
He's rocking it, man. He's rocking it.
He will sponsor you. He'll be your poster child.
Yeah, dude, the Open was so fun.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was great to meet so many, professionals and just people that love the game from every level.
Yeah.
And just be able to kick it. And also you're watching people that you're emotionally invested in because you've been watching their streams for forever, and they're 3 feet away, and you're there telling them like, great job, get them, and they're the energy was fantastic. I know a lot of pros say that was the worst LAN,
right?
But I think for the community as a whole, that served to drum up a lot of drive from Tier 2, a lot of support from people that may not have watched it previously.
No,
So
100%. And
the Open was great, man.
I think that they got a little spoiled because Champs last year they got like pampered while they were in Japan, which is why they did
Fair.
like the partnership, which is totally like makes perfect sense. Like shout out to Sapporo, because they like the next year at Champs is also in Sapporo. They did like a 2-year contract,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
And so I think going from that and then going to the next slam being in New Orleans where it was like very more grassroots. Like we're starting up. Like there's
For
a lot of
sure.
people that are nobodies, that are like trying to break into it, and you have the like Falcons that are just like right next door. So it was a
Yeah.
lot of just like I think more humbling for them when they were at Champs in Sapporo. For those of you that don't know, is like massive stadium. I mean like this half is just like thousands of people, and there's just massive. You should look it up.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely absurd how the difference. But it was. I think it's good. It's good. They need to be brought down, and it's especially in esports. It's more important for everyone to continue to talk to each other because, to us, we feel like because we know all these pathways within our own games that like this scene is really big, right? We're like we see it as this much bigger thing because we know all the ins and outs. But then people from the outside, if you look at it from not our perspective, it's just really hard. You're like, wow, this is a lot smaller than we realize. Like, not that it's tiny or like a dying, because it's flourishing. Truly, it's becoming more and more relevant every month, every year. But it's funny because you bring this up. My parents are like, oh, who's Nicewig or any
Yeah.
of these super relevant people. I mean, Imperial How, like all these people that are like insanely famous in
Sure.
esports, and like they just have no idea. They're like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Never heard of that guy before. No, Mr. Beast. They know that. It's not esports remotely, but
Well, they see him on the shelf for sure. I've been really surprised with
yeah,
even within esports how I'm telling people like, yeah, I've been working with this team and things like that, and they're like, who?
yeah.
And I'm
I mean, even
it's
TSM. I
like,
mean, that's crazy that
sure,
like
man.
some people, because like that is they're 20 years old at this
Yeah.
point, something like
Yeah.
that. You'd think people would be like, oh yeah, I recognize them,
Yeah.
and then they have no idea, and you're like, oh, not that, and it doesn't make us. I mean, I don't feel bad about it. It's just like, wow, this is smaller than we realize.
Sure. Well, I think it probably maybe is good. Maybe it keeps us all humble. Maybe it drives us all to promote the scene as a whole
Yes.
as much as we can. So
Thank you for bringing me back to my point. Is that having someone like Zero and Hal be able to be in a situation where they're with all these people that are trying to get in Apex or like wanting to do it is extremely important because we're all in the same circle. We all want to make
Sure.
this thing work equally amounts. Like some people are just further ahead and more of like the faces of it, but it's really important for everyone to interact and not ego each other. Which is Apex, funny enough, feels like it's way better than Overwatch. Overwatch, everyone just egos. They're like, oh, I'm not gonna. This guy's, he's who? Like, I'm not talking to this guy. Who is that?
There's a certain amount of ego for sure in Apex, but I think there is some recognition that tier 2 is deep, and
Yeah.
if for some reason all of tier 1 ceased to exist, you would still have very competitive Apex being played with the guys that come from the top of tier 2.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing. You see people
Yeah.
filling in substituting for scrims and things all the time that are coming from tier 2 that come and put up great numbers.
Yeah.
And I think that there's probably a lot to be said for the Open, but I think it also served to kind of open everyone's eyes as to the validity of different strategies.
Yeah.
That there's not one way to play Apex, and I think it served to open my eyes to that too.
It opened
Yeah,
everyone's eyes.
for sure.
Would you say the Open
Yeah.
was there? You go. Was your favorite LAN?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that being with players that I'd maybe known a little longer in Orlando was pretty cool. But LGS was a very reverent experience for me. It felt, I mentioned playing on mute with my daughter and stuff. It just really felt like a huge full circle moment for me.
Yeah.
To where I was like, okay, you apply yourself to something wholeheartedly, and you end up at not that I was at the top, right? But you end up at the highest levels of competition.
I mean, you
which is
played them.
fantastic.
I mean, you were in lobbies with Nip. Who else we got?
There was a lot of teams for
Yeah.
sure. I don't necessarily want to name drop them because a lot of people struggled in the tournament.
Well,
but
yeah. I mean, Falcons especially struggled. I mean, on paper, technically, considering how like of a super roster it was at the time, the fact that they were in the lowers at all was like extremely unheard of.
was strange, but
Things
they
happen.
always put together an incredible run, and especially their last few games were just a masterclass in
Yeah, I mean,
defensive
because
play.
I got to see it live, and it was just like, oh, Falcons are just winning the lobby
Yeah.
with like extreme ease. Like they weren't. It's not like they just like comparatively. It's not like they went in like your team, our team at in Orlando, and we're like, oh, we're gonna like we pummeled the lobby by double the amount of points. They just played basically perfect Apex. They had perfect rotates. They just like had a great spot in zone. Like they got decent KP.
Hal's experience specifically with when he wants to win, of putting a team in a spot, and I guess it was really zero at the time.
Yeah, because he was the one calling. He was IGLing.
Was just extremely impressive. Seeing the way that played out over in Skyhook West, the north side of Skyhook West, realizing that the Maggie was there towards the wall side, and then playing into the choke team to the north, really just stands out in my memory as realizing that it was going to be more advantageous for them to clear the space than try and hold the building, especially when people knew that they were there.
Yeah, because they cleared the backside and then just like had a Watson gym for free.
Yeah.
And they just AFK'd and they just waited and then they sent the building and they just forced Twisted Minds in. I forget who the third team was. It might have been Alcadzia. I don't remember who got third.
No, I know it was Alb over on the walls, but
yeah, Al was on Twisted for sure, and that's who got second. Right?
Yeah.
Poor Albert Lely. Well, maybe after Sapporo, you'll have a new favorite land.
I hope so.
Yeah. You'll be like, team doesn't do well. I'd never want to go to Japan ever again.
No, the team is going to do well, and that's something that I tell them every day. Again, just something to shout out my wife for is when I started working with Ronin, a few months ago, I remember telling her like, I hope we do well today, and she's like, you got to stop saying that. I was like, stop saying what? She's like, you are going to do well today, and you need to tell them that they're going to do well today, because the things that you put out and the energy that you carry into these tournaments really just determines how you're going to play and how you're going to perform. So
the ever wise Lou.
TSM will be winning champs. I'm manifesting that now.
We didn't really talk about Ronin very much, but so we could touch on them a little bit. How did you start coaching with Ronin? Because I actually remember this both vividly, because you woke me up both times to tell me. But for Ronin, I was like getting ready for work or something, and you called me and you were like, "I'm coaching in ALGS finally." But I don't think I ever actually heard about how you got in touch with the roster.
Yeah. So shout out MG Clutch, shout out Nate, shout out CJ. Honest to God,
Goats.
One of the best fighting teams ever.
He talks about you guys a lot. If you somehow ever see this,
I do. If you guys see this, you guys are the real deal. But so Ronin was actually at Ferrari on Storm Point. You may have to put up a graphic for this to let everyone know, right? But my team GVL was at North Pad. To give some context, Alliance typically lands at Ferrari and have created this association with, if anybody lands North Pad is getting fought by Alliance, right? So I think Ronin maybe took a page from their book and did the same thing. And so for weeks in scrims, they destroyed us on our loot pathing at North Pad, and I actually spent a fair amount of time analyzing how can we deal with them. So they went from becoming somebody that was just a thorn in my side, somebody that I was really mad that they were doing this to us, to somebody that I was following and kind of got to know them. And they actually were on the other side of the desk from us at the Open.
That I remember.
And so a little bit of self-glaze, right? We stuffed them.
Put them in their place.
At North Pad. Didn't put them in their place, but we stuffed them in a way that I designed. But I had a new respect for them. And so, while my players and stuff were like, F them after we killed them and things, I was feeling that energy too, but they were also hearing me speak to my team, and
They got inspired.
anybody that's ever heard me at LAN, it's difficult to escape my
His presence. I mean, you're 6'4" already. You're like 225,
I would
4% body fat. So
I'd say my energy, and so
Yeah.
after the tournament, MG, was very very kind and just came up and was
Super
like,
nice
"Hey
dude.
man, your energy was driving us too," which at the time I was like, "Damn it," because
Yeah. Right.
but
Competition.
yeah, it was fantastic to be appreciated in that way, and so I noticed that Ronin, who was Evos at the time,
That's right. Yeah.
was having some struggles. They had parted ways with their coach, and we just had a conversation, and I came on board with them, and I think we really achieved something fantastic, man. The day that I came to them, they told me,
So close.
the only way that
So
we're
good.
making champs is if we win regional finals. And so I said, so we're winning regional finals. And I actually, when I started coaching that team, I packed my suitcase for champs. It's been packed
He told me.
since.
He was like, "Brick, we're going to Sapporo. Like, we'll be at Champs."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, bet. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's figure it out."
I packed it that day because I was like, there's no option that we win this there.
Yeah.
And so, Ronin, to their credit, man, they really locked in and turned themselves into. I still, to this day, believe Ronin is the scariest fighting force ever.
I mean, he
in-
talks about
in
it every
ALGS.
single time we go over anything that he's
Yeah.
coaching.
And they really, kind of peaked towards the end of that. But we in game 5 of regional finals, we needed 5 points, and we had 2 knocks on Alliance in Monument.
Yeah, I remember.
We started
I can see it. I can literally see it. I can see it.
We started to clear it, made the decision to not clear it because we expected them to die to zone or to another team. They ended up resetting.
They reset. And then
and
they killed us.
killed us.
Yes,
and
killed
so
Ronin.
coming into game 6, we were down 5 points, which we could have very easily secured there. And then game 6, we had what amounted to Godspot.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone watches it back, it looks like we threw Godspot away. The read was that Alliance was the team that we threw it away for. We were trying to kill them. They were the only ones on match point at the time. Maybe them and one more, but we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the play. Hackus, to his credit, was incredibly smart. They all changed their skins. It wasn't them, and we end up, losing.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they changed their skins. Wow.
We actually tied for second. Super proud of the guys.
Yeah, I
Went
mean,
on
they did
to-
fantastic. I
yeah.
mean, crazy run. They were. I mean, they were right there. If they just kill Alliance in that one fight,
Yeah,
they make it.
it was very close, man. But
Ugh.
it really, working with Ronin, really just kind of inspired me. Like, I want to work with teams that are struggling to find themselves. I want to work with teams that have the drive but are searching for the means.
Yeah.
I want to work with those people, and that's part of the reason that I reached out to TSM as well. And I can't take any credit for this, but after that run with Ronin, I think MG Clutch has something like 3 million views on his YouTube. He's been grinding so hard on that.
Yeah, he's been in lots of content.
Nate, my fragger, went and held #1 pred until literally like a day before, which I'm pretty sure the other guy that got it was cheating, but whatever. But just couldn't be more proud, man. I'm not sure where CJ is. I think he's probably doing something amazing as well. He's probably climbing Mount Everest, finding himself, inner peace type shit.
Going
Shout out
on
CJ.
a life changing
Yeah.
journey. Yeah,
Well,
100%.
all of them, man. It's like they were just shot out of a cannon after that, and I hope that they carry that forward. And I hope that TSM is feeling that now.
Yeah, and speaking of TSM, who, with them, who are you looking forward to most to beating, but then also you personally getting to meet while you're at LAN?
Well, obviously, we put
The elephant in the room.
starting some fires here, right? For sure, but we lost to Alliance by 5 points. I don't have a goal to beat them in particular.
Sure,
It is my intention for us to beat.
everyone.
Yeah.
Right, to
But-
win the whole thing.
It will probably feel the best to stick it to Alliance a little bit. But no, like I said, there's nothing about what we are doing right now that is with the intention of us beating a single team or even getting second place. The intention of everything that we do right now is to win commandingly. And I think that's the way you have to carry yourself. You have to believe almost psychotically that you're the best and that no one can stand with you.
Yeah.
As far as people that I'm looking forward to meet, I am a lover of Apex, man. I've been watching everybody for a long time. Met a lot of them, at the Open.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I've spent a lot of time, in scrims with these people. And there's not really one person, man. I'm just excited to
be there.
Just to be around people that love Apex.
Yeah.
And,
it's going to be great.
Yeah. Super excited.
Hopefully Snipe Down will be there. He'll be in a better mood. That was probably the only thing that embarrassed me about meeting all these people, which even more to how blind I am sometimes in this field that I work in. I didn't know Snipe Down's like legacy. Like I come from a Halo background. Like when I was a kid, that was the first FPS that I really played, other than Call of Duty Black Ops on the Wii. That was like kind of my original thing. And I heard that Snipe Down was like big in Halo. I don't want to embarrass myself. Thank you. I had to verify with Nate still because I was unsure. Huge.
No, I remember being like, I don't know, 15 maybe, and watching Snipe Down compilations on my home PC, the big box,
Him and Nate Shot.
Yeah, of just Snipe Down.
Not that Nate Shot was in Halo. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
I know that one for sure.
But no, man, Snipe's a legend. I'm excited to see him there. He graciously spoke to us for a few minutes after the Open, despite being frustrated.
He was, yes. That's why I felt so bad. That's why I got not like really embarrassed, but I was like, because I was like, "Hey, good try today, man." He literally was like on the way out, and he goes, "Was it though?" And he just like opened the door and left, and I was like, "Oh, my bad. Sorry, Snipe." He was
not thrilled for sure, but man,
he signed the cookbook. We take that.
He did. Yep.
Begrudgingly so. He did sign the cookbook.
Yeah, so we've got an Apex Legends cookbook that Brick actually took around at the Open and was just asking everybody to sign it and stuff, man. And to me, it's a piece of history. I mean,
it's really cool. I mean, in the future, you'll probably get a lot of money for it because I have a bunch of that. I got all the Fnatic guys from APAC.
For sure.
That was really cool meeting them because obviously they don't speak English, but they were very nice. They were I was like, "Can you sign this for me?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, of course."
Yeah, everyone signed my cookbook, man, at ALGS. Right. It really is something that it means a lot. To me personally, just as someone that has seen it from the very beginning. Just to meet these people and be able to point back and look and say, "Hey, remember when we met?" Whoever it may be.
And we pull up with the cookbook again because there are really important signatures that we didn't get, which are Nicewig and Greek.
That's true. I'm looking forward to meeting Nicewig and Greek, who've all been very nice as they.
Yes, Greek, especially hyping you up. I don't know if I've seen anything on Wig, but I know Greek a couple of times at least knows who you are. Calls him Tennessee.
My accent is undeniable, 100%.
Which I think is funny because I don't. I mean, sometimes I hear it, but other times I don't notice it. People are like, "Oh yeah, we could tell you're not from here."
Yeah, there's been some pretty funny chatters. Are pretty funny, man. They I've heard a lot of things for that. All of it's nice though, which is fantastic. So even if they're saying like, "Man, this gay cowboy is really hyping me up right now," I appreciate.
Hey, that's
that.
fire.
Yeah,
riding out into the West.
For sure, man.
I don't know if you got to see this or not. Hopefully you did. But on Twitter, Nicewig is now a co-owner of 100 Thieves.
I saw that, man. Congratulations, Nicewig. We're couldn't be more proud of that, man. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, truly one of the bigger inspirations for me over the course of this whole thing that I'm doing.
Yeah. I
mean, what a legend. And he notoriously is a very nice guy. Like everybody that talks about him, like even from like Super TF, who's a big, I would say inspiration, but I'm also a big fan of his. In the Overwatch scene, like has met him at they went to I almost said Beast Games. What was Ludwig? The Red Bull games that they did that Ludwig hosted, and they did separate teams. It was a ton of streamers were there, but was Nicewig is extremely nice, just truly one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to hopefully spending some time with him at Champs. Congratulating him on that, and just really, I just have such an appreciation for him as somebody that loves Apex and probably has done more than a lot of people for promoting the game. But man, really looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah. And then, while you're there, you can ask him and Greek both about the rankings. That they made a video recently where they tiered all the teams, and I didn't see Nice Wigs, but I saw a clip of Greeks where Greeks was more, these are the teams that are going to win, these are the teams that should make it to the finals, et cetera, et cetera. It felt like was Wigs different than that? Was it like S tier, A tier, B tier?
No, Wig and Greek actually did it together.
Oh, same thing. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And man, I'm so glad they did.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they did that because for me, it's nothing but motivation.
100%.
Had they, I think that my team is currently underrated, right?
True.
Duplex is the passion is flowing. He is calling his ass off right now. Gent is probably one of the best supports in the entire history of the game as far as being, Johnny on the spot. He does it all. He's where you need him to be at all times. He's watching the things that you're not having to think about. I mean, Gent
feels level-headed too.
Extremely level-headed. Never tilts.
Yeah, never goes explosive. Now there is one person on the roster.
No.
Doesn't tilt anymore, but
doesn't tilt anymore to his credit. And man, I do just want to for a second sing the praises of Panic Apex, man, who I don't say this lightly.
He's fantastic.
I believe Panic has the potential to be the greatest player in the history of Apex Legends.
Yeah. You can see it. I mean, he's 18, right?
He's
a baby compared to a lot of these guys.
He's young, he's grown a lot in a short amount of time. He's focused. I'm not sure that anybody realizes this, but Panic he will rank during the day.
Yeah.
He will play pro scrims, and then he will go and grind tier 2 scrims in the evening.
It's crazy.
And he messaged me the other day, and he's like, I just want to get better. I just want to get better. I just want to get better. And so, he's putting up just unbelievable numbers. I mean, he dropped 25 kills the other day in scrims, something like 11 or 12,000 damage in a 6-game set, which is just...
It was 6, not 8.
Yeah, which is just unbelievable.
That's absurd.
But I couldn't be more proud of Panic. Couldn't be more proud of the team as a whole as far as how they've responded to what I've really encouraged them to do, which is to treat every day, everything that you do, starting from the quality of your sleep to your hydration to your breakfast,
yes,
to how you approach game one with your energy. We talk a lot about communication on, you can't ever assume that your team just knows something. It has to be, constant communication. And we make the reference a lot to, this has nothing to do with the recent geopolitical situation of our military, but we talk a lot about professional special forces, right? And how they run things until it's perfect. And they're, even the things that they feel like, oh, well, my teammates should know that, right, is not good enough. And they're hard on themselves, and they grind and they push every single day. That's what TSM is doing right now. And so, respectfully, to see TSM only consider, they're just going to make finals and things like that, right? It means more to us.
Yeah.
It means more on a game-to-game basis. For the past month, these are not scrims to us. I mean, truly, honest to God, the value of a Monday morning scrim is the same to us as the last game of Match Point Finals. I demand this all the time, but the team, to their credit, has really taken to it. We want to crush people every single game. Does it always work out? No. And we look at that in VODs on time it's probably not public, right? But
right.
The intention every time is to play a perfect game, is to be aggressive and intentional. So I've said it multiple times now. I packed my bag 6 months ago to go to Champs. As soon as I started working with Ronin, that shifted to we are winning. We are winning.
That's right.
We are winning Champs. At least that's the intention. So
yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm just 100%.
Get on board.
Yeah, or get out the door.
Get
how
on
about
board
that?
Or leave. Yeah, for sure. No, that's what the team believes.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
mean,
how we operate.
and
So,
I feel like people, duplex on the Optic Gaming roster that was, I mean, extremely dominant just a couple of years ago. I feel like a lot of people, and I mean, all the players that you've listed, extremely talented in their own right. And I feel like they have kind of been counted out. It felt like they didn't before, because I'm going to hype up my boy here. Before Eros, like it felt like they didn't have a strong sense of direction. I watch Nicewick scrims a lot, not only because I'm a big Nicewick fan, but I also like I'm really interested in the ALGS like Apex scene. For those of you that don't know, also side tangent, I have recently just like caught up in the last like year or so. I watched like all of the final circles, like every ALGS content I could possibly find to like get caught up with the scene. So I
sure.
feel like I'm pretty well versed for
I
how
think
long
you
I've been
are.
involved.
Yeah.
And I mean they have goats. I mean in Panic, I mean everything Eros said is obviously true about the roster, but something has not been clicking before he joined. And ever since he's been here, he gave them a clear sense of direction. Like he's a motivator. I mean, you just, especially esports players in general, like gamers, the regular ones, which is where like the more adjusted people ended up becoming coaches, like mine yourself. They don't know how to take care of their themselves. Like and not like they're like babies, like oh we have to feed them and change their diaper, but like they don't understand how impactful a routine is, like staying on a consistent sleep schedule, having food, like not eating fast food all the time,
Sure.
eating a nutritional diet, all that sort of thing. Like it affects all of your gameplay. Putting in
100%.
putting in hours, but not like slaving away to the game, like just the entire time.
Yeah.
It all matters. And this guy explained it to him, showed them the way.
Well, I think I as a coach I had the benefit of having fantastic coaches myself playing traditional sports coming up, and it was just something that, and I think is something that a lot of esports players have not had the opportunity to be a part of. There is so much pressure put on them to perform, and just ranking with your buddies, you experience that on some level.
Right.
Even if you're doing a great job, people are telling you you're trash, you suck. Yeah, and then you see
It's not
players,
relatable at all.
yeah. Well, you see players that are professionals, they miss a shot and they're like, I'm trash, I suck.
Yeah. It's a lot
Yeah.
of that is extremely, I mean, just so
A lot
real.
of negative feedback.
That's all we
And
do.
so,
I'm
you know,
chopped. I'm horrible. I'm
yeah.
trash at the game.
yes, dude.
I can't get a girlfriend.
Well,
That's all it is.
So my approach with teams is you won't hear me give them negative feedback until we VOD review, in which
Right.
case we are fixing things and it's not a personal attack.
Yes.
You will very often hear me tell my players, and it's not just words. I actually am. I tell them I'm proud of them every single day. I tell them I'm proud of you, but I also demand more.
Yeah.
It's not a request for you to get enough sleep. It's not a request for you to be hydrated. It's not a request for you to show up game one with the same energy that you would of game six. I'm demanding that from you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you make a mistake, I think you hear a lot of coaches who maybe get off on some level of being this brainiac of who knows, well, you shouldn't have done that, and I can't, this is why you lost, and this and that and the other. Sometimes it's more important to keep the player in the game who knows that they made a mistake. They know that they made a mistake. Their teammates are going to tell them that they made a mistake. And yes, from time to time, I'm going to tell them that they made a mistake too.
Right.
But in the moment, you need them to be confident. You need them to be a savage. So.
And I think that's where coaches a lot of the time, I mean, at every level, I've seen it, have, like, don't know the difference between making an adjustment to, like, win the game versus flaming or negative talk or being like, you made this mistake, it cost us the whole map, right?
Yeah.
I'll give myself credit and where it's due in 2023 where we had to reverse sweep still in the finals, like when we were in Orlando, and I nerfed our rosters to all be around the similar skill level, so like we were really close to the other team in skill. They were also extremely talented in their own right, but I kind of outbrained because I just like knew where our weak points were, but I didn't focus on any of that. I was like, we're gonna play our game, and then I just like I remember one map specifically. I called every single comp swap for like before the round started, before we went into the map, as legally I'm allowed to do, and told them when to adjust, and I just completely like outread the other guy.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it was just like. And I knew what they were going to do because then they were like, the next round they wanted to counter swap us, and then we had already changed our comp, and then they were behind because we're on control.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, if you keep the players in it, like you don't focus on the negative itself. Like you have I don't even want to say positive because you just don't even talk about it. You just make the adjustment of where we need to rotate or like what comp we need to play, not focusing on individual skill keeps them in it.
100%, man. 100%.
We were blessed with that with all the kids that we worked with because I mean Spiff, prime example. I would say all those guys, but Spiff always reigns true to me the most. Like that guy is just a demon at LAN. I hope he still ends up competing at some point. I can't believe he made his way into this podcast, but within a week in his own right, got Masters in Apex and then won the whole thing, but has only lost the one that we got second place in the first year, and then ever since then he just doesn't lose. He goes to LAN, he's just completely stone cold.
Well, Spiff, definitely embodies all that we've tried to teach to players. Is really truly a competitor and
great leader too.
Yeah, fantastic leader, man. And I know that TSM is going to do the same at this tournament.
They are. You
can already see it. You can already see the belief. I'm going to hit them with this. So I don't want to. This is the first time they hear me say this to be on camera, but at some point, all of us, our time on Earth will come to an end. We'll be dead, right? But look, the legacy that you leave behind and everything that you do is how you live on. So right. for a lot of people, they go to this tournament and have an ego about the way that they perform or blah blah blah. That is not what it's about for us.
Yeah.
What is your legacy? Did you show up every single game? Did you show up every single fight? Did you calm your ass off? That's what this is about.
And that's what we both instill into all the players that we worked with, that we do as we play just in regular ranked. That
100%.
Yeah, it's 100%. That you have to give your 110% every single time, or it's not worth it. Yeah. Because we are all lucky to be in a place like esports, to be in like a thing that we get to be like, oh, we're playing competitive video games and like getting to compete for these national and worldwide titles, international things, and it's still as small as it is. Like, it's humbling, and we need to be thankful, and we're all a team. Like, we're all on the same side, and that was one thing that has reigned true over the last couple months for my personal story, is that everyone that I interacted with, they were like checking on me. Like, even people I hadn't known super long, like in the scene, like collegiately, they were just all like, "Oh, is everything okay? Like, do you need any help?" Like, everybody cares and wants it to improve, and there's a space to be there.
It's the beauty of esports, man.
Yeah,
gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Well, I don't know if there's a better way to cap off the podcast or whatever this is. The Bricked Up Talk Show, as it is.
The Bricked Up Talk Show.
We got any questions for me? We have like a minute or two.
Yeah. Z.
Z. I know it's gonna be good. He called me Z.
Man. All right. So, obviously,
Matthew McConaughey
gonna be coaching, potentially at the World Cup.
Yeah, as long as it gets approved. Like, I am the head coach along with Team Pakistan. Love that.
The brothers.
For the brothers, yes, Kosher and Petal. Kosh is a good friend of mine, and he recommended me alongside like someone else who's very prominent in Tier 2. So I was actually pretty stoked that I got the nod. The other guy's great in his own right. And yeah, I'm super thankful. I was coaching with Puerto Rico in 2023. Really glad they brought the World Cup back because I was like, it felt like that was getting kind of dated. So I'm glad I get a World Cup this year. We're gonna make top 16. We're gonna go to LAN. Well, yeah. We'll see how that goes.
You're gonna win.
Top 16. We're gonna win wild card for sure. We're gonna play in the tournament. We're gonna make top 16. That's my goals.
There you go. Well, that's super exciting.
Is that what you're gonna ask, or is that it?
No.
I don't want to cut you off.
No, I did want to hear about what your intentions were, and I think with Overwatch being kind of where it is, it started off huge. It started off with Overwatch League, right? You had all these different regional teams. It was on ESPN and things like that. Do you feel like there is an opportunity for Overwatch to reach its glory days? Is there a peak to Overwatch, or are we trying to hold on to something with Overwatch that may never come back?
That's a great question for being put on the spot. I think that Overwatch is probably never going to reach the same heights that it was at, because it completely revolutionized everything that we know about esports, hero shooters. I mean, it literally, not that there's the whole chicken and the egg debate with Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, but Overwatch drew inspiration from Marvel Comics, and like a lot of the characters would be like, oh, that's why they're so similar. Marvel Rivals literally, not copied, but took a lot of inspiration from Overwatch as a game, like the older version, and like made another hero shooter, but did it differently. And so I don't think it'll ever peak the way it did. I mean, in esports alone, they had the Overwatch League. I mean, that was a huge deal. I mean, millions and billions of dollars going into something. But I think that the scene is definitely in the healthiest state it's been in. It felt like this huge, unachievable thing back in the day. Like it was just seemed impossible to get to the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Because it was this melting pot of every good player in the world, and some of them getting to mixed teams and mixed rosters, and it's not like that anymore. Which is makes the skill ceiling like a lot higher in terms of like North America playing Korea or like APAC, we're just not winning, but it makes the path to get there a lot easier. Like with FACE, it has been fantastic to go from there's just a clear open, advanced, expert, masters, and after you win each of these divisions, you move up, and if you win masters, you get to end up in OWCS. And I think that is just alone the at least the Overwatch esports scene is in a great spot. I think the game itself is a lot better. It's a lot of fun. Took a while to find their footing because they kind of just didn't deliver on anything that they wanted to do with Overwatch 2, which was a massive letdown. And more recently, I think I partially credit that to me being good at the game again. Is I was like kind of hard stuck masters in Overwatch 2 because I just was so negative the whole time. Like, and obviously, if you know me, I flame people in ranked pretty consistently, but I was more negative at the game itself and not just the people. That's the thing I always said when I was playing Overwatch is that I just couldn't stand people that play Overwatch, but I love the game. I didn't like the game anymore, but I was like just playing it because it was like comfortable routine or whatever. And I was like, oh, it's no Overwatch 1. Oh my God, this is just awful. Like these blah, blah, blah. And like, was I partially right? Yeah. Some of it was not fun. However, recently in the last, 6 or 7 months, I have every time, I have been like really enjoying the game and like actively having a fun time doing it. Like I'm not like laughing every ranked game, but I took Overwatch 2 for what it was and was able to, move on and be like, and take Overwatch 2 that it's not the same game as Overwatch 1. Yeah. They're probably never going to go back to it, which is sad, but it's in a good state.
Well, that's great, man. I'm glad that it has, at least on some level, made a recovery because it was a little spooky for a little while there.
I know it. I was there.
I think knowing what Overwatch did and how monumental that was for Overwatch games to be on ESPN and a Buffalo Wild
Disney
Wings or
XD.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean
Disney
both
XD,
of them. Yeah.
The precedent for that was just so inspiring that it makes me hopeful that if not Overwatch, then some game will be able to recapture, the interests or the hearts of people who don't already love esports, and that it can be that way again if it's managed a little bit better.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. But man, thanks so much for coming on my talk show.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I'll do the outro. Nate will just be like, yeah, thanks for coming in. No, but thank you coming out to my, my public facility that I have to borrow. Because we live so far away from each other. It's actually crazy.
Yeah. He flew me out on his private jet.
Bro, I wish. Some of these people be like, oh yeah. That Brick, he's rich, he's loaded. Okay, bro.
He is.
Yeah. I'm loaded for sure. I am stoked for you as a friend and as in the professional scene that you're going to do fantastic things. I literally cannot wait to either be with you or staying up and watch partying champs and texting you the entire time.
I appreciate it, man. You've been a huge support for me, and
that's my boy.
I hope you're there with me.
All right, guys. This has been episode 1 of Bricked Up, my new podcast talk show, where I interview people in the esports scene across every title possible, every genre of thing, whether it's coach, player, reporter, news, esports news, whatever it is. I want to interlace the scene together, make sure, give everyone a space to be able to talk about themselves, light themselves up, because in esports, people are notorious for never being spotlighted. Everyone just kind of knows somebody, but, and we all realize that we know each other in some way. But this is, getting to know yourself.
Yeah. Getting bricked up.
Yeah, I got honey packets back in the back. Honey packets and brick, as Spiff would say.
Well, dope, man.
Yeah.
This was so fun.
Yeah, of course. We should do it again sometime.